Hello, Dr. Castleberry back with you all. Brief technological disturbance here, but we're back on track and just going to move on to our next series of questions rather. It's feeling like that appropriate time where I would typically announce lightning round movement through the questions, but who are we kidding? What is a lightning round really? But a predetermined segment designed to continuously stimulate that audience to keep them from changing the channel, right? So it's a sales gimmick. These game shows that prophesy about these alleged lightning rounds or whatever. But let's look at some student questions, all right? And I'm looking at Tyler's questions right now. And the second question is very interesting because it has that practical application for us. Tyler writes, this is a real life question. How do you think COVID-19 will affect media long term? Oh yeah, this is a great question. We can engage this, entertain this. This is a question of the here and the now. All right, so we're facing this coronavirus pandemic, right? And it is having immediate impact on things. At the beginning of this, public officials, people of importance and authority were literally telling us, stay inside, go and binge watch, your favorite series or a Netflix or whatever. They're giving us directions to take in some media, to take our mind off the distractions, but also to kind of settle us down and kind of give us something to do as they sort out what that looks like. So people were flooding to their favorite, services or whatever, consuming media at increased levels. We've seen disturbances in, internet signal strength and so on. And so media has grown as a part of our daily lives during this quarantine time. All right. So that's very interesting. Notice how it unites us just as we are separated. And so media can have a positive impact, can have a glowing presence, a growing presence in our lives. Here's something that I noticed within days of this kind of national social distancing and sort of stay at home, or as some states like to reclaim that label, safer at home, because they're protecting the quote unquote freedoms of constituents in the state. Constituents meaning voters. But one of the things that popped up on Facebook was all of a sudden we had access to this new Facebook Watch Party. Start a Facebook Watch Party. And there we go again, looking at how Facebook has this ability to create instant social influence, right? And so they were encouraging these kind of communal gatherings where you come together, you can watch something, some kind of event, and then have like an intergroup live chat, essentially. You can create your own riff tracks. For those that may or may not know of riff tracks, you could Google that, check it out, amuse yourself during this time at home. An offshoot of Mystery Science Theater 3000, which was a syndicated television program in the 1990s, but has continued in various forms over subsequent decades. Anyway, that's a little bit of background history. But how do you think COVID-19 will affect media long term is the question. Here's something significant. Let's talk about the industry itself, the entertainment industry, the media industries. TV, especially live programming television, flourishing right now. Of course, news ratings are up, press conferences getting lots of attention and so on. But that type of live media, live journalism is able to still function at a strong level. And certainly some people take a little bit of risk to remain involved in that. Others maybe, we have seen a lot of furloughing, maybe jobs kind of put to the side. Here's an interesting current event talking point just this week, when it becomes this negotiated process of states deciding for themselves what constitutes as an essential business or not. The state of Florida right? Florida man, hashtag. The state of Florida announced that they qualified professional wrestling as a quote unquote essential business in the state, so that they could keep it going, keep it operating, flourishing. And the governor himself made some kind of commentary about people need to take their minds off of these, weighty times or whatever that means, which is code for I'm really close with certain producers of professional wrestling and they pour a lot of money into the state. And so we want to keep it going because the state needs money and we don't want to scare off those those entrepreneurs and investors and stuff like that, which is what that means. But we have seen a number of Hollywood, production companies announce delays for their features. The whole industry has shut down essential business, like daily business. People are quarantined or furloughed or fired or working from home. Okay, and you can only get so much done. Now, here's the people that it doesn't slow down. So when we talk about, hey, jobs that you could use a communication degree or maybe some other humanities degrees to progress toward, screenwriters, they didn't have to slow down. Things may have changed a little bit, kind of like I'm working in a remote situation. Screenwriters, you can write anywhere. And they do, and so that's probably staying a healthy part of that. But a lot of productions, union jobs, gatherings of more than those designated group numbers of people have to cease, and so everyone's losing millions and millions and millions of dollars a day in that industry. What we will see, it's not a Profit Friday or any day necessarily. So what does it look like long term? Everyone wants to get back to a sense of steady production because that's the system we live in. We live in a capitalist system. We live in a kind of a dynamic economy, and a dynamic economy demands many things from many people. And those successful corporations are always running like full speed. So including media companies, right? If you think about the interconnection between the media industry and professional sports, and professional sports, a popular topic that students like to write about every so often. We know people are, this is an inundated foundational element in society. So professional sports leagues, collegiate sports, they're on the verge, right? There could be serious collapse if we aren't able to remedy the situation through whatever methods are going to see us through: social distancing, locating a vaccine, or kind of being able to grow out of those that are naturally have immune or have immunities. Furthered efforts by the medical communities and so on. But sports and the media industry intricately tied. I noted there was an announcement of a reopening the economy, make the economy great again declaration. And there was an advisory committee on how to reignite the economy. And the list of names being touted on that were all of the commissioners of our major sports leagues, and then some select, billionaires, and then Vince McMahon from professional wrestling, and some people like that. So it was a very unique list of wealthy celebrities, right, that have been invited to help launch the economy 2.0, whatever that is. So we'll see. Time will tell. Be on the lookout. These signs and symbols are everywhere. Okay. Finally, Tyler asks, with the communication theory millennial popular culture text, how does knowing this information help us grow in communicating? Oh man, I had a tough time deciphering what is the context of this question. I think it's a great question because that's really laser pointing at communication, saying, well, why? Or it's giving us that so what question. That's a healthy question. Any reviewer for academic journal or something like that, would always be looking for, are you answering that so what question? And hopefully, through the context of this course and how we're executing it, we're understanding that so what question. The so what question is slowly being revealed to us, right? I'm like pulling back the curtain or unraveling something with my hands here. But how does knowing this information help us grow in communicating? All right, so I don't know what page we're pulling from for this question, though. It's very unclear. There's no excerpt here, but millennial popular culture or studying popular culture, I think we've tried to answer this question in conversation already. This idea of we can use popular culture like a language to understand how we communicate in the world, to connect with people, and at the heart of connection is the building and developing and sustaining of community. And community is a foundational tool of human civilization, right? Whether we're living in a business world or a hipster world or whatever, right? Business hipster world, some hybrid. We crave connection as beings, and we connect through communication. And popular culture is this building block, this bridge between aspects of subcultures, regional cultures, and so on. So it makes a logical sense to study it in conversation with communication. You see what we're doing, right? It helps us achieve also, I think one of its most important goals for us at MacU in the accelerated program is it's helping us move quicker because we're an accelerated program. And so we have to be able to make those connections quicker, and having broader examples that we can, a larger body of people can relate to, help us connect it off better. All right, so there you go. Kristen has a question I want to shift into. Kristen, coming out of Media and Society, Chapter 1, Media and in Our Thoughts and Lives. Durkheim believes we are double, quote, on one hand, we are a society, and on the other hand, society is in us, end quote. Marx assumes life and media shapes our consciousness. Williams suggests hegemony, or hegemony, depends on who you get, shapes our consciousness, and that people are unaware of what shapes their thoughts and ideas. Do you agree with this? Do you think media shapes our consciousness? If so, in what ways? You had to have the little be specific follow-up there at the end. Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. But let's think about it in broader strokes. Media is kind of representative of technology, right? Mass media is mass-mediated communication in many forms and fashions. And that means many perspectives, diverse perspectives, all right? So when people start throwing around that phrase, oh, the media this or the media that, it's baloney, people. It's baloney because it's too large of an industry. There's a pluralistic number of voices and out there with various often competing agendas, other than simply profit-driven motives, of which a lot of them are simply that. But if we think about in the context of art, let's look at maybe like the fictionalized world of media or the dramatized world of media, and sort of recognize that art imitates life. We've heard this old adage, right? We're familiar with that phrasing. Art imitates life. But sometimes when we get into this realm of media effects, how media affects us, life imitates art. And so it is cyclical, right? Art imitates life, but life in turn imitates art. And then oftentimes art imitates art, right? As a result, over time, this is where genre can be an interesting theory for us to understand. It's not about proving something. It's about having another language skill set or a deeper understanding of how things work and what the many pieces are, so that we can understand, comprehend how society is moving, right? And how we're forging connections or maybe breaking connections. Yeah? Making new connections. Do you think media shapes our consciousness? It can. I mean, we're introduced some broad theories. Those of you that continue along in the calm journey or have been a part of it for a while, just over my shoulder up here, right? I have one of the newer editions of Marcel Denise's Popular Culture, Introductory Perspectives. And in that book, he makes an excellent case for how, how popular culture shapes culture. It reflects culture, but it shapes culture. And it's kind of continuous and cyclical, like all storytelling in human history, right? Whether it's, one people group or another people group over time. Mass media is the microphone that projects out our communication to wider bodies of people over longer periods of time. All right, let's do a quick break. We'll come back with more questions, and that's just going to help us render that video out, baby. All right, sit tight.